Hello and welcome to the Gameplay Library. My name is Ryan and today we have Chelsea Club Football 2005. A game developed and published by Codemasters, that's right. Yeah, you heard me right. That's a football game developed by a racing studio for all intents and purposes. You may have heard of Codemasters if you've played any racing game that was not Gran Turismo or Forza in the last 20 years, because if you did, they probably built it. So, this game was part of a 22 game, not even game long series, club long series, I'm going to call it, of basically football games made for individual clubs and fans of individual clubs from all over Europe. I'm using today's example as Chelsea Club Football 2005, as I happen to own this game. I also own Leeds United Club Football. I regret that deeply as a Liverpool fan, but here we are. But there was also ones done for all over the continent that I was unaware of, previous actually to even researching this video. So, for example, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Paris Saint-Germain also all got games on this series, which is just incredible. Now, this series is a little strange, little strange, in that it does not compete at all with its predecessor, with its not even its predecessors, its competition of the time. This game is not as good or nearly as good as FIFA Football 2005. And that is and with FIFA being the football game of our time, that's the point we need to hit. You need to be better. You are either going to be better or worse than FIFA. Chelsea Club Football 2005 is worse than FIFA 2005. In fact, it is worse than FIFA 2004. Both of which I opted to play to decide if that was true. Neither of which was a good experience, but it wasn't as bad as this. Now, I don't like that I started the video that way, and I'm going to get into the gameplay now and cover off why this game just maybe wasn't the best and it's disappointment. It really is disappointment because Codemasters are a great development company. They do some great things, and this is probably the biggest letdown I've ever had from them, including older shit. I mean, Brian Lara Cricket is better than this, and that was on the PS1. Cricket game functions better than this. But here we are. So that was a really negative start to this, and I don't want to carry on that way. So I'm very briefly going to mention the two positives that this game has. So the first positive is the soundtrack. Soundtrack, all 4 songs on it are banging. And by the way, I do mean 4 songs in that during my time playing this game, I heard the same 4 songs repeated again and again for 2 hours. Maybe there's more, maybe if I access different menus or go through other things, maybe there are other songs that are triggerable, but there's about 4 songs on the whole game, and they're classics. I mean, the game opens and I'm sitting listening to the Kaiser Chiefs. Personally, I was a fan, so that's a good thing. The other good thing about the game is on the box of Chelsea Club Football 2005, there is a very lovely blonde Irishman called Damien Duff. That is the other positive. As far as I know, he's the only Irishman to have ever made it on to the box of a video game outside of the GEA series, which we're not going to ever discuss. We're going to hide that. It wasn't, we're just never going to discuss the GEA series of games. It's never going to happen. It's an embarrassment to me as an Irishman that those things even exist. Anyway, now we go back to the negatives. So we got a minute. I got a minute out of the positives. Now we're going back to the negatives, because there are just far more negatives in this game than anything else. So the first one I have to mention is the AI. The AI is funky. Holy crap. I mean, how in God's... What are they thinking? During the play of this game, I've had experiences where the AI simply ran away from the ball. The keeper dived the complete wrong direction. Players just stopped moving. That was a frequent one. They would just stop moving and allow people to run past them. And then that running past people, that now brings us into the handling of the game. So the handling of the game is poor at best. Generally, you can only move your players in straight lines, and I know what you're thinking, but everything's a straight line. It is, except up and down, left and right is very restrictive on a PS2. Diagonal movement isn't really a whole heap of a thing. It's very difficult to do. It doesn't perform very well when it is doing it, and it seems like the game's just trying to get you to... It's nearly like step down, if you imagine like a ladder with kind of angles. So I guess a graph going up instead. That's how the game kind of wants you to move when you're moving at an angle, is in these little kind of steps down the road, and it's not good. It just really isn't good, especially for the time diagonal movement on a fucking joystick. That's simplistic. That's easy and simplistic and should have been done. The other massive criticism I have about this game is the sheer speed of it. Because of the poor handling, and I really should have mentioned more because there's so much more. For example, the tackling. The tackling is nigh on impossible in the game. It's at least doing it fairly, as far as I found, and I played enough of the game to find out. But the speed, the absolute and sheer speed this game plays with, is unlike anything I have experienced in any other sports game, in any other football game. The ball moves nearly instantaneously across the screen, to the point that I was having a huge issue during certain games of actually just even tracking the ball on the screen itself. And that might not be that. It just doesn't seem like that big of an issue initially, but it really, really is when you're trying to also guide players into the ball. But then you're not attempting to guide players into the ball, because going back to the handling, you actually can't move an AI controlled player off the ball. Only the CPU can move a player off the ball. Now, I need to be more specific about this. If someone is in control of the ball, whether it's your team or the computer that you're playing against, you can move a character under your control. If that ball gets passed, thrown up, kicked up in the air or anything, the player freezes in position and then starts running again. So obviously it's a segment designed where you switch player, but that's just poor overall. And because of the speed of the game, you notice all of these things very, very quickly. And then the last thing that struck me about this game is the laziness, nearly, that went into its development. Obviously, you're making a big series of games, and they're all going to be cut and copied and pasted, and that's whatever. I don't like it, but it is what it is. But on the grand scheme of things, there are about 4 animations in this game in total. So your goal celebration is always the same, no matter what player you score with. The foul animation is always the same, no matter what player you score with. The goal conceded animation is the same, no matter what goalkeeper it is. And the celebration of Jose Mourinho jumping around celebrating you scoring a goal is basically the only one that's there. It's a bit nuts. And just on that, actually, probably the most realistic model in the entire game is the one of Jose Mourinho, which makes little to no sense. The footballers don't look like themselves, not even close. But Mourinho, yep, that's him. It's undeniable. It's like a caricature, but it is undeniable. But look, that has been Chelsea Club Football 2005. The game is not good. As a collector, I have these games. I've added them to my collection. If you are starting to collect video games and you see these, pass them by for now. Come back, buy something else. Buy anything else, in fact. In fact, buy yourself a copy of FIFA 2005. That's quite a lot of fun. You can do a lot of messing with the transfer window, which there isn't in the Chelsea game. Just on this game, and as a by the way, there is no transfer list. So, all that being said, I would leave Chelsea on the shelf. I would leave these club football games on the shelf. Given a look back, but I suppose, look, I bought these from charity shops. I'm just shocked they worked. But they worked well enough for me to play them. And that's pretty much all I wanted. So, if you've been listening this long, thank you for watching. I hope you've liked the video, and please subscribe if you have. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.